Lagers, Pilsners, India Pale Ales, Double IPAs, Doppelbocks, Belgian Goldens. That's right, it's all here on another round of Brewsday Tuesday. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
Popping tops on Brewsday Tuesday. Popping bottles. I don't know if that really cans really do sound better than the bottles.
Yeah,
I would say
mine was almost silent.
Yeah, mine.
Granted, I'm using my personal bottle opener.
I think, yeah, that's the thing. I think that these types of bottle openers, they don't make much noise, but it is Brewsday Tuesday, a special gnarly edition because this is going to be my last in-person one for a little bit at least. And so I wanted to go big, and thankfully there was no shortage of those beers at the Cellar Restaurant and Six-Pack store. I just popped Lagunitas, the Waldos, which is their special triple IPA. And they didn't actually used to label it like that. They didn't used to define what level or status of IPA it was. But they're calling it a triple. It's the 2023 highly limited release at 11.7%. Highly limited release. I'm going to say that again. So I recommend you get down there to the cellar and grab them before they're gone. I mean, they have
highly limited.
They have a finite amount, and when they're gone, they're gone. No doubt about that.
I've got the Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA aged in Utopias barrels. The Imperial India Pale Ale is what it says on here. 17% ABV, so this may as well be a bottle of beer wine, barley wine.
Well, even bigger. So, interesting enough, I said Waldo's, I don't remember them defining it as a triple IPA. I don't really remember 120. Usually I feel like I remember, I know last year for sure, and I feel like years past, they didn't put the ABV on there because the way that beer is made, depending on how long it's on the shelf and whatnot, it could be even getting higher in alcohol as it sits.
I mean, that and that's the other thing with this one. It flat out says right here on the side. And what you have here is a very special version of our 120-minute IPA. This beer was continually hopped over the entire boil, then aged for a year in freshly emptied Utopias barrels. Enjoy now or age for a decade or so. I do wonder, because there's got to be like an upper ceiling as to how high it's going to get before it starts to decay, but 17% right off the bat is wild.
Yeah, and again, it said aged in Utopias, which, by the way, that is the Sam Adams gnarly beer that I don't know. I mean, certainly never purchased. I think at one point during that DC Beer Bloggers Conference that I went to with Huck, where we went to Vanish Brewing, which, by the way, remember I was trying to think of the V Brewery in DC. If you're watching on Facebook Live, it was stared at Nate right in the face. Yeah, we got the sticker right on the wall,
line of sight.
But somebody at that bottle share did bring Utopias, so that's the first and only time I've ever had any Utopias, because those bottles.
This is the closest I've gotten.
That's about a 300. I mean, I don't know what it is with inflation now, but it's like a $300 bottle of beer.
I don't even know if I've been in the same room as Utopias.
Probably not. Probably not.
It's crazy.
Either way, so Sam Adams and Sam Callion, I think is how you pronounce
it. The Sams.
Yeah. Of Dogfish Head. They got in bed together. I don't know how the deal went down, where somebody bought the other, or maybe they're just partners or something. So it makes sense that this year's, there's a bit of a tie-in. Our big beer, your big beer. Let's combine them and make something special. Maybe that's the result of them getting in bed together.
Boston Beer Company bought Dogfish Head.
That
from what I'm gathering from the label.
And that makes sense, I guess, because they are bigger. Well, but at least it's still independent, believe it or not. Yeah. Sam Adams is craft beer by definition.
I think Boston Beer Company, to a certain degree, I mean, obviously they're very committed to their craft status, but also I love that they do try and keep things independent and craft and really honor the art that could be an AB and Bev, and say what you will about them. They do have products in their portfolio that are quite solid that you wouldn't even know. Boston Beer Company very much so was at the forefront of that and has tried to keep it, kind of the cool club.
Yeah, and I'm looking it up right now because I saw there it is. I saw this recently and I have not tried it because I just saw it on the internet. Sam Adams has Just the Haze, which is a NA hazy IPA, I guess. And apparently it won some award for like being the best NA beer.
I saw that.
So I need
Not
to try
the
that
beer,
one. I mean, it's
award.
weird. Like I actually, full disclosure, the reason why you're drinking the 120 is because I've actually already tried it with our fellow, the pioneer of Brewsday Tuesday, Huck. I went and visited him last weekend, and he did have that. So we popped that amongst many, many other beers. And I did bring him a hazy IPA from it's Three Notch. Three Notch has a line called Uncool, which is basically their NA beers. And that to me was the best NA beer I've ever had. So I do want to maybe do a little compare and contrast to the Just the Haze from Sam Adams to see if it stands up, because it's amazing, man. Like, I mean, obviously I like actually having the beer and getting the alcohol, but that's not for everyone. And it worked out well because again, me and Huck, we were drinking well into the night, and it was nice to kind of, all right, well, let's bring out an NA beer. We can still, rate and stuff, but it's a little break.
I wonder how much of it is the ritual of something you enjoy. And if you don't know the ABV, they've kind of done that in social experiments where they'll swap out alcoholic beer for non-alcoholic. Now, if I were in a scenario where I was paying for that beer and you give me a non-alcoholic beer, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
But in the right scenario, like when you brought back that Radler from Ukraine and didn't realize it was non-alcoholic, that was damn delicious.
Yeah. I mean, I remember BB came in and we did a test of like ABVs, higher, lower. That being said, if I drank one of those, I don't know if I would know that it's totally NA. I might just think it's a lower caliber.
I was thinking probably around a 2.5. It's a Radler already. It's light. You're not going to taste it.
Two and a half.
It's easy to trick the brain.
2.5 is super low though. I mean, that's a Radler's usually, your typical beers aren't going to go below a 4. Every now and then you might find something that's like, but more often than not, 4 is about the bare minimum.
I feel like I've read, and maybe the way my perception on it is once it's mixed with juice, that cuts it in half. So that's where I was getting the 2.5 from.
Oh, the Radler. Okay, I got you for the Radler.
But I don't know. The last time I've ordered a Radler at a bar, it was probably around 4.5.
I immediately start shaking my head because I've never ordered a Radler at a bar. I don't.
Well, sometimes if you're at a place and this was a restaurant and bar in Radford that I'm not going to name because that would be a disservice to our client, and Mikey, who's provided us all this delicious beer, I had tried everything on the menu except for the Radler.
Well, yeah, you got to try.
So you got to like the completist in me, and it was super low.
In that regard, you would try it, but yeah, actually, I mean, and frankly, I kind of dog on Radlers a little bit. I joke on them, but I mean, they can be good, and especially this time of year, summertime, man. I mean, this is the time for Radlers. You might be seeing them more and more frequently being released, no doubt about that. I don't know about you, man, but these are, how gnarly is that?
It's it definitely tastes more like a barley wine than it does a beer.
So this is gonna be interesting because when me and Huck tried it, it wasn't just me and Huck. We had the wives there. Everybody got a taste. So, and we didn't have another, I mean, not quite 17%. I got 11.7 over here or whatever it is. But whew, we're gonna be feeling it, man. You said you walked to work today, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the only way to get through one of these. Thank God the weather cooperated.
Yeah, I probably should have because I have not eaten a single thing today.
That's not entirely true. I'm willing to count your smoothie as eating.
Okay. A protein shake.
I mean, if you break your jaw and they're feeding you with liquid nutrients, you're still technically eating.
Is it eating if you don't have to chew?
That's we would need someone more professional in the
To me, if you're not chewing, you're not eating.
well, soup.
I don't eat soup.
Like, let's say you have, see, I do, and I would call it like tomato soup. You don't chew tomato soup, but you're still eating tomato soup.
Tomato
Granted, I dip grilled cheese in it, so I am definitely eating.
eating it, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when it comes to soup, usually there's other stuff in it, and you're chewing. There you go.
Gazpacho.
I guess you do eat ice cream. You don't really chew ice cream, do you? It depends on
No.
what's in it. I mean, unless you got like, something good in there.
Chewing
you're
ice cream,
chewing
like,
it.
and like I've watched the kids do this, like biting into popsicles freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like, how does that not hurt?
I didn't like doing it when I was a kid because it was more. I feel like my teeth could handle it now, but I still don't do it just out of principle because it seems.
Yeah.
And like people that crunch ice, nah, that ain't for me.
I'll see, like, if I go to a restaurant and I get a water, I will eat the ice as well.
So wait a minute.
But
So why are you?
Popsicles bother me for some reason. I think it's a texture thing.
No, but so it's not a like your teeth hurt.
No, it's
not a
just
cold
texture thing. Like,
Hmm.
I'm afraid, and I think it does come down to maybe at some point before I necessarily realize it or have memory that I probably bit my tongue or the inside of my cheek and just
Mm.
have forever had that negative association. Next time I have a popsicle, I'm going to be, which is so often. Next time I have a popsicle, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to bite it and see what happens.
So
And
we're
I'll
talking.
report back.
So we're talking popsicle with the stick.
Yes.
That's in it. Not to be confused with is it what you call it, a freeze pop? Are those
Freeze
the ones where you
pops?
cut the top off?
Those are a staple in our house.
Oh man, I mean, especially summertime, you got to have some freeze pops laying around. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so what's your strategy when you're eating a freeze pop though? Do you, because when I eat them, I suck the liquid out of the ice and then I'll
just ice?
Yeah.
You suck all the flavor out.
Yeah, which is probably like goes
Nice.
back to that like love
See,
of candy
No,
for
so
me.
what I do is even before I open it, I crunch it all up. So
Then
it's
you're
basically
slurping
like
it?
broken, and then I just like squeeze out a little bit and
Like a
let it just
Slurpee.
melt in my mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't bite into. I try not to bite into anything really cold. And I feel like I probably could now, but I must have been, no pun intended, burned as a child. I think I had sensitive teeth, and so I'm just extra careful. I remember vividly, I had sensitive teeth, and my siblings would just to mess with me. They would like take ice cream and just like put their teeth marks into it and show it to me because it would like give me
Yeah.
chills and freak me out
Have you ever had a cavity?
when I was a kid. Not
See, I've
no
never-
cavities with.
I've
my
never had a
adult
cavity,
teeth.
but for whatever reason, it's kind of like that. Like, you don't want to drink orange juice out of an aluminum container because it feels like licking a battery. I think there's just an association that probably doesn't need to exist, but does in my mind.
Mm.
So yeah, we got to break this curse. I'm having a popsicle, and I'm gonna bite right into
Do it, man. Give it a go. Give it a whirl.
The only way to approach trauma.
Yeah. So this Lagunitas Waldo's 2023 triple IPA, officially a triple IPA, by the way. Now it's delicious. It's everything you would hope for and expect. Just a nice, big, hearty, heavy IPA. I don't need to eat anything today, man. I'm drinking my
All the calories.
meals and calories right here, dude. This is a meal in itself. Oh my gosh. It's so potent and just so smooth and delicious. It's got everything you want and then some. Again, I recommend you get down there and grab them before they're gone. It's a 5, of course. The Waldo's, it's always a 5.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't leave much room for improvement with my score on the first segment, but we'll just go ahead and be a 5 whore today.
So now you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why I left it because I knew what was coming. You
I
didn't
didn't-
know what was
I
coming.
didn't rummage through the fridge. I just
you
went
had-
based on my honest reaction, and I still
that being said, those other beers we had before, they were really both 5s.
yeah. I was
this
going to
was
say
all
after
just
drinking this,
fantastic beer.
I wouldn't take points away from the others, but this is something that's special, and again,
stands above.
this likely will be the closest I ever am to Utopias. It is the Imperial India Pale Ale. They say so right on the label. 17% ABV. You're getting all of the bang for your buck. I don't know what the supply was like at the cellar, but I may have to go out there, grab some, and somehow find some way, maybe a safe deposit box at a bank, age it for a decade, and see in 2033 what the 120 tastes like. So it's a 5.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So next week, it's definitely going to be a little bit different. I don't know if we're going to try and do it via the Zoom, kind of like the COVID days, or honestly, I could be wrong, but I think our very first stop on the RV trip is a brewery. So who knows? I might even just have a guest on, because I know you also have a trip coming up as well. So that'll be interesting.
Nothing is glamorous.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different. So we'll figure it out, man. Next week will be an interesting Brewsday Tuesday. This one,
stick around, you'll find out.
Yeah, you'll have to tune in to find out. No doubt about that. But once again, shout out to the Cellar Restaurant and Six-Pack Store and Mikey for not only pulling in a fantastic selection and being our sponsor, but also just, man, I mean, it's a cool guy. The beers are fantastic.
So much fun to talk to.
Yeah, get down there and say what's up to Mikey. We'll take a quick break. We'll play some tunes. It's Brewsday Tuesday, wrapping it up right here on 105.3 The Bear. Stick around.